The annals of human experience are filled with mysteries, tales that whisper from the shadows of the past, events that defy explanation and hint at realities beyond our own, challenging the very fabric of what we believe to be true. Picture 12th century England, a land steeped in folklore and ancient traditions, a world of superstition, hardship and the unknown, where the veil between worlds seemed thin and permeable. In the quiet village of Woolpit, nestled in the heart of Suffolk, something extraordinary was about to unfold. An ordinary day, filled with the usual toils and routines, became irrevocably extraordinary. Two children appeared, seemingly out of nowhere. Suddenly, inexplicably, their presence defied all logical understanding. But these were no ordinary children. Their very being challenged the norms of the time. Their skin was a vibrant, unnatural green, a hue that spoke of something otherworldly, like young spring leaves, yet somehow wrong. They emerged from one of the ancient wolf-trapping pits, a dark moor in the earth, pits that gave the village its very name, a name now forever linked to their strange arrival. The villagers, used to the predictable rhythms of rural life, were utterly stunned by this bizarre spectacle. The children's appearance was a profound disturbance, a ripple in the familiar fabric of their existence, a fragment of another world, inexplicably present, a glimpse into something beyond human comprehension. Their arrival was not a legend born of rumour or fireside tales, but a real event, documented and witnessed, that startled the entire community to its core. The children were undeniably human in form, yet utterly out of place, like figures plucked from a dream and thrust into reality. No one could explain their sudden presence, their origin shrouded in mystery. Their colour or their silence added layers of bewilderment to an already perplexing situation. It was as if a piece of another reality had broken through, a tear in the known world, leaving these two as living question marks, walking enigmas in the heart of medieval England. The mystery began not with a crime, a theft or a betrayal, but with an impossibility, a direct challenge to the natural order of things. And impossibilities, as history shows time and again, are simply facts awaiting understanding, puzzles waiting to be solved. The green children of Woolpit were such a fact, a stark and undeniable reality, an enigma that would echo through the centuries, a haunting melody in the grand symphony of history. The harvesters were the first to see them, two small figures, a boy and a girl, huddled near a wolf pit. Their skin was green, their clothes strange, their language incomprehensible. The villagers gathered, torn between fear and curiosity. Were they elf spirits or something more sinister? The children wept, shrinking from touch, unable to communicate. No nearby village reported missing children, especially none with such a peculiar appearance. Sir Richard de Calne, a local landowner, took them in, offering shelter. Yet even in his care, the mystery deepened. The children remained objects of fascination and suspicion. That year, the harvest yielded not just grain, but a riddle that would haunt Woolpit for generations. Within the confines of Sir Richard's household, a peculiar situation unfolded. The children, seemingly out of nowhere, began to refuse all food. Bread, a staple of their diet, meat, usually savoured and enjoyed, and even the freshest vegetables from the garden were met with rejection. As the days turned into weeks, they grew weaker and more listless, their energy visibly draining away. Desperate, the household staff offered a variety of foods, until finally raw broad beans were presented. To everyone's surprise, they devoured the beans with an almost frantic hunger, as if recognizing something deeply familiar and essential to their well-being. For a time, green beans were the only thing they would consume, a curious and unsettling echo of their own strangely green-tinted skin. The boy, despite the beans, continued to decline and did not recover. He remained frail, his life force fading, and soon he tragically died, deepening the mystery surrounding their origins and purpose. The girl, later baptized as Agnes in a solemn ceremony, miraculously survived. As she slowly adapted to the unfamiliar tastes and textures of new foods, her unusual green hue gradually faded, replaced by a more natural pallor. She diligently learned the local language, mastering its nuances, and with it began to cautiously share fragments of her extraordinary story. Her survival against all odds offered a glimmer of hope for answers to the many questions, But her brother's untimely death left a multitude of questions forever unanswered, shrouded in mystery. The children's inherent strangeness was matched only by their profound vulnerability in a world they clearly did not fully understand. As Agnes learned to speak, she revealed their origins, a place called St. Martin's Land. She described a world of perpetual twilight, where everything was bathed in green light and all people were green. Life there was normal to her, but utterly alien to the villagers. She and her brother, tending flocks, heard a sound like bells and followed it into a cavern. After wandering in darkness, they emerged suddenly into the sunlight of Woolpit. Agnes's story never changed, even as she grew up and married. Her account was fantastic, but it was the only explanation she could offer. The tale of St. Martin's Land remains the only first-hand testimony from the heart of this enigma. The story of the Green Children was not just local gossip. It was recorded by two respected chroniclers. Ralph of Coggeshall, an abbot, wrote of the children after speaking with Sir Richard and seeing Agnes himself. William of Newburgh, a historian known for scepticism, also included the tale, citing reliable sources. Both men presented the story as a genuine event, not mere legend. Their records gave the mystery credibility and preserved it for history. The chroniclers did not claim to understand what happened, but they believed it was real. Their documentation turned the Green Children from folklore into a historical puzzle. The enigma was now etched into the annals of England. Over centuries of scholarly debate and historical inquiry, many have tried to explain the perplexing enigma of the Green Children. The mystery surrounding their arrival and origin has captivated imaginations for generations. Some suggest a medical condition, chlorosis or green sickness, a now rare ailment that can cause a greenish pallor. But this theory falters, as it fails to adequately explain their unique language, the strange cut of their clothing, and their cultural background. Others propose they were simply lost Flemish children, perhaps separated from their families during a period of upheaval. Perhaps they were refugees whose unfamiliar dialect and peculiar dress were simply misunderstood by the local villagers. Arsenic poisoning from dyes, a common hazard in that era, is yet another theory put forward. But even this doesn't fully account for the vibrant, almost unnatural green hue of their skin or the fantastical elements of the children's own story. Agnes's account of a subterranean world, a realm bathed in twilight, is often dismissed by skeptics as mere fantasy or folklore. Yet despite the incredulity, her testimony has remained remarkably consistent over the years. Theories abound, each attempting to shed light on this historical puzzle, but each ultimately leaves significant gaps in our understanding. The possibility of another dimension, a parallel reality brushing against our own, or even the notion of extraterrestrial origin, while seemingly far-fetched, is perhaps the most outlandish explanation. Yet it strangely honors the core elements of Agnes's unwavering testimony. In the end, no single explanation can definitively account for all the known facts and inconsistencies surrounding the Green Children. The Green Children remain a captivating riddle, a historical enigma that stubbornly resists any easy or conclusive answers. Sometimes the most enduring and fascinating mysteries are precisely those that steadfastly refuse to be neatly solved, leaving us to ponder the unknown. Centuries have passed, but the Green Children of Woolpit remain an unsolved enigma. Agnes grew up, married and lived an ordinary life, but her origins were never forgotten. Theories have come and gone, but none explain every detail. The story's power lies in its unanswered questions, the language, the colour, the subterranean world. Chroniclers recorded what they believed to be true, and their bewilderment mirrors our own. The Green Children remind us that some mysteries endure, untouched by time or reason. Not all doors are meant to be opened, and some stories deepen with the passing years. In the ordinary fields of Suffolk, the extraordinary once emerged, and left behind a question that still lingers.